Hello fans from the Wheelchair Gang, Thari's here and welcome back to another video. We're doing something a bit different today. We're doing a video in which I pitch a future Doctor Who product or element of the show. This time, we're pitching a 14th Doctor. But before we get into it, did you know that only a small percentage of my audience is actually subscribed? So if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always unsubscribe. So with that, enjoy the video. So this is a question that I've been pondering for a while, as a lot of people have desired actors for the role, how they want the Doctor to be played, etc. And to be honest, I've never really had a desired actor for the role. I've always liked the idea of Michael Sheen, hence why in some of my fan trailers Michael Sheen regenerates into the 14th Doctor from Jodie Whittaker. But I think I've decided finally on my preferred choice for the role. And this comes after watching the TV show The Boys, which you may have heard me talk about before, either on Harbo's podcast or just maybe in comments in general. But long story short, I love The Boys, I absolutely adore it. I'm probably going to do a video essay on it at some point because it's so good. But my preferred choice for the role became Karl Urban. Now I realise that this is wholly unrealistic and the chances of him actually taking on the role pretty slim to none. But with that, I want to talk about what I would want his Doctor to be like, and why I think he would be a good choice. Karl Urban is about 48 years old. He's obviously younger than Capaldi by a couple of years. He looks younger than Peter Capaldi by quite a lot. He kind of has a similar effect to Paul McGann, where Paul McGann doesn't seem to age. He just seems to stay the same, especially if he's clean-shaven, which is what I would have him be as the 14th Doctor. But the reason I chose Karl Urban was because he was such a ranged actor, and I feel as though he's definitely got a leading man presence and that star quality. So much star quality that he would probably turn Doctor Who down because it's not as big as the other shows that he's done. But I definitely see elements of the Doctor in his Butcher. He was also in Thor Ragnarok and in Star Trek, so he's had plenty of experience with science fiction properties before. The way I would like his Doctor to be is kind of a blend between the 9th Doctor, the 10th Doctor, and the 4th Doctor. I'd like him to have the tragic backstory of the 9th Doctor. I feel like it adds so much more to a Doctor if they've got their own unique tragic backstory and story to tell. For example, with 9, it was getting over the Time War. I feel as though the Doctor inherently is a very tragic character. They abandoned their home, they ran away, they are a sort of character that we are meant to sympathise with. They are the part of us that always feel out of place or otherly in any new surrounding. So I think for this Doctor, I would love for there to be an emotional origin story, not at the level of the Time War, but something a bit more personal and intimate. For example, perhaps by the time we meet him, he's been the Doctor for a little while, and his first companion passed away on his watch, and that guilt is carried with him, and this new companion that he'll eventually meet helps him get over his grief. That's the idea that I would like. But by a mixture between the 9th, 10th and 4th Doctors, what I'm really trying to suggest is that I want the dark backstory of the 9th Doctor with the whole Time War thing, but on a smaller scale. I'd like the romantic human elements of 10, not to the extent of 10, and yes, I know I sound a bit of a hypocrite because I don't like the romantic stuff, but I'd be lying if I said if it didn't captivate the general audience. And I'd love for him to have that just bonkers alienness of 4 toned down a little bit. But what I love about Butcher in particular is that he's very morally grey. You don't really know where you stand with him. You get this crazed look in his eye, and when he does, you never really know what his sort of frame of mind is. So I would definitely play up that a bit and make it alien, but different to the 4th Doctor. The 4th Doctor's alienness is quite jovial, whereas this Doctor's alienness would kind of make him unsettling in places. I think also the accent that he does for Butcher would be perfect. I don't think we've ever had a rough English accent. Obviously we've had northern accents, which is great, but I think a rough English accent would be sort of the next logical evolution, and I think the northern accent added a lot to the 9th Doctor as a character, and I feel like it could definitely do the same here. But I think his companion he would eventually fall in love with, for the pure reason that he helps her get over the grief that he had over his last companion. I don't want him beating people up like the Third Doctor with his Venusian Aikido, but I definitely think a more abrupt and almost violent approach to disposing of villains would be something quite refreshing. Again, something akin to the Ninth Doctor when he's about to shoot the Dalek. However, I think that this Doctor would definitely be one of the more morally questionable ones, at least early on. We can see him do similar things to what the 10th Doctor did to the Family of Blood, but a lot more regularly, and it's almost treated as the norm. This Doctor sees the universe as less of something to behold and more of something to be combated. Not out of a sense of spite like the Master, but out of a sense of moral duty. I think this would add some layers to the character, especially after 13's portrayal, which is very clear-cut morally. Killing is wrong no matter the circumstances, even if it doesn't make sense a lot of the time. 13 is a champion of the moral good, whereas this one would be a lot more morally grey. Not necessarily a bad guy, but I wouldn't necessarily call him a good guy either. He is just a guy. At the end of the day, the Doctor, while yes, they did grow to have a sense of compassion, they weren't inherently like that from the beginning, so I think returning to that sort of Doctor would be quite refreshing to see. Obviously they tried to do it with the 12th Doctor, but I feel like they backpedaled out of that far too quickly, and I would like to see that explored a bit more. This is just a couple of my ideas for the 14th Doctor. I think Karl Urban is just a really strong choice and a really strong actor. He's proved he's had a leading man presence, he's had experience with sci-fi properties, he can do an English accent, so Karl Urban is my choice for the 14th Doctor. But let me know who your choice is for the 14th Doctor in the comments below. Please like this video if you're new, and please subscribe. We're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me if we could get there by the end of this year. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.